Now let's start our today's session, that is flowcharts and state machines. Topics to be covered in today's session, that is flowchart using UiPath, state machine using UiPath, and hands-on session on these two workflow. As we know earlier that we have four types of workflow in our UiPath studio, that is sequence, flowchart, state machines, and global handler. These three workflow means sequence, flowchart, and state machines are using to create our workflows. And instead of this, global handlers is used for exception handling, which was covered in our further topic. So what comes into the flowchart? A flowchart is generally used for complex business process. It's provided decision-making facility, can be used for both small and large project, provide multiple branching logical operator to make decision, able to run in reverse, can be used inside sequence. First of all, kindly just wait. Okay. First of all, what is the flowchart? As clear from the name, flowchart is a process how to perform any work. Like whenever we talk about any type of programming language, what is the concept of flowchart? Flowchart means what is your use case scenario to develop any type of program. After that, you can execute your particular task. This was the blueprint of your programming task. Same as it is in a UI path, it was the graphical representation of flowchart. Now, so how to create any flowchart? For this, simply create a process. Whenever you open your UI path, create a new process, means create a new project, then the screen is look like that, means your default dashboard is present on your screen. So how can we create a flowchart workflow? There was two steps. That is, first navigate through new, means new button in the ribbon tab. You can select a flowchart. Same as it is, you can create sequence in our previous lecture. You can select flowchart. Instead of this, you can open main.xml file also and drag and drop from activity panel. That is flowchart. By default package is workflow. Inside the workflow flowchart, and there was an option available here, that is flowchart. You can simply tag and drop this activity. Instead of this, you can create a new workflow as a flowchart. Provide the name flowchart FDP. It was automatically create a new XAML file that contain the flowchart activity. At the starting point, there was a start button. This start was the beginning of your flowchart. And the concept of this flowchart is same as it is like top to bottom approach of any programming language like Java, C Sharp, .NET, etc. There was a four nodes that was connect for your different activity. So switch on our PPT. Our first example that enter two number and check whether their sum is less than 20 or not. So let's try to run this project. Switch on our flowchart activity. Drag and drop input dialog box for taking any number at a runtime. So simply search for input dialog box from activity panel and simply drag and connect with this triangle button. This activity is automatically connect with your flowchart start position. Now, what we want to do, our task is, our use case is enter two number and check whether their sum is less than 20 or not. Means we want to take two input from user end, means at a runtime. For this, simply switch on UiPath Studio, explore this input dialog box by using double click on this activity. Provide the name of input dialog box in double quotes, that is input first number. Simply copy this. This was the dialog box title. Again, we provide the same message for input label also. And what we want to do, we want to store the number which was taken by user at a runtime. For this, the input taken by user at a runtime was stored in a variable. So here we want to create a variable. For creating variable, use a shortcut key, that is Control plus K. And after that, can simply create a variable, that is var1. Now change the type of variable, that is by default it was taken as a string. You can change it into int32. The scope of this variable is simply as the scope of any type of variable. If it was in a single class, then the scope was a class name. If it was accessible all over the program like a global variable, then scope was global. So here, what is the scope? That is flowchart FDP, means our workflow. After that, simply drag and drop another input dialog box and create a variable. Sorry, and provide the credentials of second input dialog box. That is second number. Again, it was again we want to store the next number in a variable. For this, again you can create a variable, that is var2, by using shortcut key, that is var Control plus K. Again, the variable type is string. You can simply change it into int32. Scope is flowchart. If you want to provide any type of default value, you can put here. Now save the file and watch the flowchart workflow and run this file so that we can watch our boot is doing well or not. If you run a single file, then use run file. If you select option like debug or run, it was run whole of the project. So we want to run a single file, that is flowchart FDP. Simply select this run file. Just wait. This was our input box dialog title, that is input first number. Both title and label was same. So we provide here 5. Again, input the second number. We provide here 5. So till here our boot is successfully run. Now what is our use case scenario? Enter a 2 number and check whether there is sum is less than 20 or not. So for this we are using flowchart activity. We have a activity in our flowchart, that is flow decision, that is the responsible for the decision made by this workflow. So simply drag and drop flow decision. This flow decision is also available on the package, that is workflow, under the workflow, flowchart and flow decision. Simply drag and drop this and connect with it. Now in this flow decision we want to provide the condition, and inside this flow decision we provide the condition. So where we want to provide the condition, in your left hand side in the property panel there was a first entry, that is condition. Here we provide the condition. So what is our condition? That is var1 plus var2 is less than 20. Now this flow decision have a two edges, that is true and false. If condition meets, then it was comes into the category it was comes with age true, and if the condition was not matched, it was come with the age false. So for this, if condition was not true, we want to print a message box. So simply drag and drop a message box activity, connect with this age and provide some message that like condition matched. That is true condition. And if condition was not matched, simply copy and paste same message box in false age. You can simply connect these edges by using your mouse also. So for this, select the false edge and connect with this message box activity. And in this message box, you can simply pass here a message that is false condition. Now, our first workflow was ready for execution according to our use case scenario. So simply run a single file and watch the output. Um, we provide here 10 and second number, that is 6. True condition means the addition of these two numbers was uh, less than of 20. This was our first example of our flowchart activity. If you have any type of doubt, kindly unmute yourself.
Sir,
Or,
excuse me.
yeah,
Sir, what is the difference between sequence and a flowchart in the case of this UI part?
okay. Uh, in a flowchart, this was the graphical representation of each activity. That is, this was start from here, then go to this section, then go to this section, then go to this flow decision making, and after that this was go on a true section or false section, same like a flowchart. Instead of this, whenever you create a sequence, that was a programming language type activity. Means you can simply drag and drop different types of activities, and then you make the decision according your logic, not just like that graphical representation of these types of activities. This was the major difference between flowchart and sequence.
In the sequence also we have this kind of representation, na, sir. Only start is not there.
But it was a programming based activity. Means this type of graphical representation was not present in your sequence manner.
Right. There we will have if block. Yeah, if
Yeah, this was a if block.
activity.
Then
If activity, right.
yeah, if activity. Then you have not any type of flow decision of graphical representation of flow decision like this. Means you can manually put your condition on this block
Mhm.
in a case of sequence. Instead of this, whenever we talk about flowchart activity, there was a graphical representation of different types of activities with combination of different ages.
So working will be same, only
Yeah,
representation or look.
yeah, working will be same, output will remaining same, but the user interface was different in all workflows like sequence, state machine, flowchart, etc.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Any other query?
Sir, please explain with one example, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now switch on our session. There was another example, that is finding whether two numbers are divisible or not. This was the same scenario, only with this condition, that is x mod y, mod means operator that was store the resultant is equal to 0. This was done at your end. I will explain the next example, that is a guess number example. Means user can input any number from 1 to 999, and our bot is automatically generate a random number. If both are same, then it will generate a message box that is you entered correct number. If you entered wrong number, means guess number and random number is not match, then it will again ask for random number. This was an interesting topic and also interesting example. So start with this example if you don't have any type of doubt till now. Okay, let's start with this example. So for this, create a new sequence. Oh, sorry. Create a new workflow of flowchart, that is guess number. So what is our objective? Our objective is that first building a guess game that generates a random number from 1 to 99. So go with this use case scenario. Generate a random number. For generating the random number, we are use a activity that is assign activity. Connect with this node. Create a variable that is random number. So use shortcut key that is control plus key. In this variable, we want to store a random number which was automatically generated by our UiPath Studio. So first of all, change this variable type from string to int32, and now use a method that is new space random dot next. I will show you. This was our predefined function provided by UiPath to generate any random number. What is the new? New is a operator that can generate, that can allocate the memory of any variable at a runtime. This was the same as a constructor in Java or C#, or same as it is any OOPS language like PHP, etc. Random is our method. Dot next is our object. In object, we provide two arguments, that is first is starting point and next one is a end point. So this was return any random number from starting point 1 to 999. Let's, so this function was clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now let's check any number is generated or not. For this, use a simple activity that is message box activity. Drag and drop this activity. Print here the variable that is a random number. Just wait. A random number variable is a type of int32. So we change it here to string, means int32 to string method by using toString method. Simply run this file. Okay, the random number was generated, that is 816. Each time it will generate random numbers between 1 to 999. That was 584. Now we will change here 1 to 9. Change the message box, that is now switch on our use case, that is so our objective is that to take a input from user. So simply drag and drop a input dialog box to take input from user. Provide the different activities of input dialog box, that is provide input any number between 1 to 9. For input we create for input label we create a variable, that is message. Why we create here, I will explain it next activity, because this was in our use case. Why we create here a message box, sorry, message variable. Here we want to store the input which was provided by user in a variable, so simply create a variable, that is guess number. Change the type of variable string to int32, and in message variable provide a predefined sorry default value, that is input any number between 1 to 9. Awesome. Now again, what we want to do, we want to make decision on the behalf of this random number and input provided by user. So for this, now we want to take decision, that is random number is equal to guess number or not. So simply drag and drop this flow decision activity and provide the condition, that is guess number is equal to, just wait, random number. So the condition of this flow decision was guess number is equal to random number. I will show you. This was our condition. If the random number is equal to guess number, then it was okay. Otherwise, it will again ask to user for input a new random number. For this, simply drag and drop a message box and connect it with a true edge. Same. Provide the message. The number is match. If number was matched, then it was switch on this message box activity and exit from this flowchart. If number was not matched, then what? Again, it was asked for another random number. For using this, for this scenario, again we want to drag and drop a flow decision and connect with this node and simply provide the condition, that is guess number is greater than random number. Just wait, I will show you. This was our second condition. That is, if our condition was false, then check another condition, that is guess number is greater than random number. If this condition was true, then it was show a message on input dialog box. Sorry. In this input dialog box, first of all, if the condition was not matched, then it will switch from here to here, means switch from here to here. But at this point, we want to show a simple message box, that is the input number was greater than the random number or not. Because of this, we using this decision box also. So simply drag and drop assign activity. Kindly confirm me my screen is visible properly. So
Yes, sir.
we want to assign message variable, that is number is large. Try a smaller one. Again, if it was with false node, then change the message dialog box, that is number is smaller. try larger one. Now, this was our use case scenario. Now, the last thing is that if condition was false, then our board is automatically switch on this input dialog box. So for this, there was also a 4 edges on our any activity. So simply connect this activity to our input dialog box. Means if condition was false and number was not matched, then generate a message and switch on this input dialog box. Same with this. So simply hold the mouse and now our workflow is successfully completed. Now simply run this file. This was our first message box, that is random number is generated. Now input any number between 1 to 9. So we provide 3. Watch this message. Message was automatically changed. That is, sorry, input dialog label was automatically changed. That is, number is larger, try smaller one. So simply provide 2. Number is matched. Whenever number is matched, it will switch from, sorry, exit from our workflow. Again, run this file. The first message was generated, that is random number is generated. Provide a number, that is, suppose we want provide 7. Number is larger, try smaller one, so provide 3. Again provide 2. So number is 1, I think 1. Okay, this was about simple work example of flowchart workflow activity. If you have any type of doubt, kindly ask me, or you can simply put your message on message box also.
Excuse me, sir.
Hmm.
I'm getting an error at the number is equals to random number in the first flow decision, as you have mentioned in that
Just wait.
flow decision.
Just wait. Kindly
Okay.
share your screen.
Uh, yes. Sir, I'm not able to share the screen right.
You are Abhiman, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Not try to share your screen.
No, I'm. It is not getting shared, sir.
Okay, what type of error you got?
It is a compile error saying that encountered processing expression number equals to random number.
Okay.
The system number is not accessible in the context.
Uh, just wait. Are you successfully generate the random number?
Yeah.
Again, input dialog box activity. You got any type of
Like,
error?
yeah. Yeah. No. No. No, sir.
Oh, one thing. Make sure you are change the variable type of different variables. Like random number is equal to
Int
variable
32.
int 32,
Yeah.
and
Message
just
is
uh, how can I so can you show me the pic send me the picture in WhatsApp group?
yes, sir.
Sir, otherwise give co-host to him, sir. Then he is able to share the screen.
Sorry.
By giving co-host to him, he is able to share
No,
the
I will
screen.
make him the presenter, but he was not able. I think he was using browser.
Yeah, I'm using browsers.
Okay, yeah. That's all the
That's
problem. Okay, Abhiman,
Yes, sir.
send your query. I will
Yes, sir.
extend this session.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Continue, sir.
Okay. So our next topic is state machine. Yeah, this was another type of workflow that was provided by UiPath. It is a
So
type
your
of
screen is not visible.
oh, okay, just wait. So it was so our next topic is state machine. It was another workflow which was provided by UiPath. A state machine, a type of automation that uses finite number of state in its execution. Means there was some there was predefined activity in state machine workflow, that is entry state, exit state, trigger state. What is the end of execution means what will get at the end of execution, which was covered in final state. And there was a trigger also, means whenever the condition was not matched, it will go on a trigger tab, then again go to the condition tab, then again go to the trigger until the condition was not matched. So the state machine has a three state, that is state, check the condition, that is trigger point. After that, the final state will execute after all the condition was successfully matched. So let's start with state machine. Yeah, state machine contains three sections, that is entry, transition, and exit. I will explain you it by using UiPath. So again, you can simply drag and drop, same like a flowchart, or simply create a new state machine workflow from here. The state machine was also available on activity panel in workflow package, that is state machine. You can simply drag and drop from here if you working with a sequence. Main file is a type of workflow, that is sequence. Instead of this, if you want to create a workflow that is type of state machine, then simply go navigate through new and select state machine workflow. Provide the name, that is uh, state machine example FDP. Now it was also a start point, but the difference between the flowchart start point and state machine start point, uh, there was only four edges on flowchart activity. Instead of this, in state machine there was a multiple edges that was connect to different activities. So as we discussed earlier, there was a three section in our state machine. So first drag and drop state and connect with the node. Whenever we explore this state by double clicking of our mouse, it show there was a multiple section, that is entry point, exit point and transition point. Suppose this state machine, how this state machine was work. It was start from here, go through the state, and state must have at least one trigger point, means one condition point. How can we create it? I will explain it. Simply explore this state activity. There was a 2 point, that is entry point and exit point. For understanding this, simply drag and drop. I will explain it by using simple message. After that, we will go through a proper example of this state machine. So simply drag and drop a message box activity. Provide the name, that is entry point. Again, drop a message box activity, that is exit point. Now switch on state machine. There was a error. And also, whenever you provide some activities on your state machine, it was show you at a by using this symbol, that is entry message box, that is exit message box. But till now, in a state activity, there was a error, that is state must have at least one transition. Transition means condition. So first, how to create a transition? Suppose we have a condition that we create a variable, that is variable 1, its type int 32, scope is whole of the state machine example. Delete this variable. Provide the default value like 5. Now we want to create a condition or a transition state. So simply connect any edge with itself. There was a transition state that is T1. Whenever you explore this T1 by using double click on this, you have different section, that is trigger point, that is condition, and what is the action. So suppose here a condition that is variable 1 is equal to 9, and drop an activity in a trigger panel, means that is also a message box activity in a action tab, that is so how the execution will start and how it will executed. So simply save this file, Explorer. Execution was start from here, check for the state, go through a entry level, and now jump to the this condition, means this transition state. In transition state, it was first match the condition. If condition was matched, then it will comes into this action activity. If condition was not matched until it was go through a trigger until the condition was not matched, means loop was going on infinite condition, same like a for loop. So the execution was start from here, go through the state entry point, then go to the transition state, check the condition, uh, go on a trigger box until the condition was not matched. Simply run this file for checking this scenario. That was entry point. Now this was a trigger. Again this was trigger. Again and again. Means loop was continuously goes on infinite because condition was not matched. For stop this, simply stop our board. So it was clear. Now suppose we put here assign activity into this trigger state. Sorry, just wait. And in this assign activity, we increment the variable 1 from 1. Means each time we increment the value of variable 1. And also print the value. So simply change the direction of this. Concatenate the string. It is variable 1 dot to string. Now one more thing, we are not using here a final state till now. Let's run this file. That is the entry point trigger. The variable 1 default value is 6. Again it's 7. Again it's 8. 9 condition was match. Then it will jump to the exit point Now it was comes into the action box. Again, it was jumped to the entry point because there was no final state. And again, loop was go on a infinite. So again, stop this boat and introduce the final state from activity. Connect with this state. There was a transition to simply explore them. That is variable 1 is equal to what is our previous condition. That is variable 1 is equal to 9. So same condition provided here. And drag and drop a message box activity. And print a message that is from final state. Now run this file. That is the entry point. Now it goes on trigger condition match. After this condition, exit point of state machine. Now it was go on a final state and comes this message from final state. Whenever you click on OK, it will exit the execution. So it was clear. If you have any doubt, kindly ask me. After that, we create same workflow of guess number activity by using state machine also. You can unmute yourself.
Excuse me, sir.
Hmm.
Can you just show me the T1 condition for message box?
Okay. This was the condition.
After the assign, yeah. Trigger plus variable one string. Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. The simple execution is that first start with this point, go to the state entry point, and then jump to the transition state. If condition was match, then it will go on a action box, otherwise it will go on a trigger until the condition was not matched.
Okay, sir.
And then it go if condition was matched, then it will go on a final state.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
Sir, which is the most useful in industry now? State machine or flowchart or
It's depend upon
sequence?
your use case. What is your use case?
Okay.
Now switch on our next scenario, that is same as a previous example, that is create a workflow, that is take a input from first generate a random number, then take input from user and match these number. If guess number and random number was successfully matched, then it will provide a message that is number matched. Otherwise, again it will ask user to provide a number by using state machine. So simply for this, create a new state machine. Name of this state machine, that is guess number activity. Now, what is our first task? Our first task is to generate random number. So simply drag and drop the state, connect with this age, change the display name for our understanding, that is generating random number. No, sorry. Now, again there was a error, that is state must have at least one transition. Before going on this, simply drag and drop the assign activity for generating a number, create a variable that is a random number, change the type of this random number, provide same method with new operator, that is new random method dot next, provide the arguments, that is 1,9. This was our method which was discussed earlier in our session. Now in a exit point, because execution go with here and then exit point. So simply drag and drop a message box and provide a string, that is random number was generated. Now switch on a state machine. There was an error, that is state must have at least one transition. So according to our use case, our next objective is that to take input from user. So simply drag and drop another state activity. This error message was going on from generating state, generating random number state. Now switch on this state, drag the activity, that is input dialog box, provide the title, that is guess number, provide the label, in my case both are the same, create a variable, that is guess number variable, change the variable type, string to int32, and also change the scope with state machine, means we are going to assign this guess number as a global variable for our state guess number workflow. Same with this, variable. Okay, awesome. Now, yeah, the error message was also appeared. One more thing, there was a difference between these two states. In the second state, I'll simply rename this state also, that is guess number. So our state is renamed successfully. Whenever we declare state, entry and exit point, both, then it will show both symbols, means entry symbols and exit symbol. And whenever we declare only one of them, means declare only entry activity or either exit activity, then it will show according your declaration. Now there was an error, that is state guess number must have at least one transition, means there was single transition for any state machine, but in our case we have two transition, means if guess number is not matched, then provide a message box and then go to the final state. If the condition was match, then it will go with another number. So we have two transition. So simply create a first transition, that is T2, provide the condition, that is guess number is less than random number. Drag and drop the message box activity, provide some message, that is guess number is smaller than random number. Try greater one. Now same for rename this T2 transition. Display name is T2. We rename here, that is try greater than number. Again, we want to declare one more state if number was smaller than. So simply create one more state, that is guess number is greater than random number. Drag and drop a message box activity. Simply copy this message. Rename this T2 to try smaller. Now there was one more instance, that is final state. So simply drag and drop this final state, connect with the node and provide the condition. So simply provide here the condition, that is guess number is equal to random number. Drag and drop the message box activity, that is number matched. Rename this, that is final state or correct number. So our workflow is ready for execution. This was our use case scenario to generate any random number. Again, take an input from user, match the conditions, that is if number was greater than, then or smaller than, then it will again ask for input, and if number was matched, then it was showing on a final state. One more thing, drop an activity in message final state, that is number matched, and also want to print the random number. Save the file and run this single file. So our first message is generated, that is random number is generated. Provide any guess number. So simply provide here 4. Guess number is greater than. Okay, then try 3. Again go with 2. Go with 1. Okay, the random number is 1. So our workflow is successfully executed. If you have any type of doubt, kindly ask me.
So can you show me the condition of generating a random number?
Yeah. Whenever we generate any random number, first of all, in an entry point, use the activity, that is assign activity, create a variable, and use this predefined method, that is random dot next. One second, I will show you this.
Okay, sir, done. So both flowchart and this state machine doing the same process. So what would the benefit to use flowchart or state machine?
This was depending upon your use case. Suppose uh, you want to fetch data from any website. Let's take example of share market. Suppose you want to create a bot that was, one second, I want to explore it. Mm, Suppose you want to create a bot to get the price of this stock, that is Bajaj Auto Limited. Watch one thing, this price was automatically changed. So if you want to create this type of bot, then you use state machine, because in a trigger panel you must always check the condition. That is, if you want to trigger at a point whenever its cost is greater than 513 439 4039 or 4038, then it was automatically triggered at this point. No need to create user defined loop, no need to create your own logic. It was simply done with this state machine. All of the utilities provided by UI path, it depends upon your use case. What is your use case?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
This state machine, how can we connect it to the HTML page that you said to the moneycontrol.com or any of the other application?
This was covered in our further session. Whenever we uh, covered in web scraping selector,
Okay, sir.
that was covered in our further session.
Yeah, sure, sir. Okay, thank you.
Any other query? Okay. So now we want to create a workflow that takes input from user and check the number is even or not. So this was a simple message. So simply drag and drop a state, take a input from a user, create a variable to store the variable. Mm, where one. From an interest exit state, drop an activity, and that is message box activity. I simply provide a message that is exit point. Now let's take a single state. Now create a trigger point, provide the condition, that is variable 1, just wait, change the type of variable from string to int32, change the scope as well as here we provide the condition, that is var1 mod 2 is equal to 0. This was the simple logic to check whether the number was even or odd. Now drag and drop the final state, connect with state edge, var1 mod 2 is equal to 0, provide a message box, number is even. Now run this activity. So input any number, we provide 3. Okay, there was no message box activity in our entry point. Just stop this and change the condition. Drop an activity, that is message box. Mhm. Okay, sorry. What's happened? Let's check the condition. Okay. So this was our other use case scenario, that start, go with a state, take a input from user, check the condition. If number was not even, then again ask for the number, and if condition was matched, go to the final state. So simply run this file. Input any number. This message comes from our entry state input dialog box. We provide here 7. Number is not even. Kindly try again. Again it's provide 5. Not even. Again let's go with 6. That is, go to the exit point of our entry state. Now go to the final state. Condition is matched, number is even, and now exit. So is that clear now? Can we convert our flow chart to state machine using in UI path? I don't know about this. I never checked this type of scenario. I will check it and answer that your question, that we convert our workflow to state machine or not. Any other query? Regarding this flowchart and state machine?
No, sir.
Okay, then this session was end on the behalf of me. The next session was start on your according your schedule. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.